Hey, welcome back. Okay, so in the previous videos, we talked about building a knowledge base, talked about building trust, all that kind of thing. Now, what we want to talk about today is understanding the buying process. Okay, so in the buying process, you're going to have multiple stages. And at each stage, that gives the customer the opportunity to either accept what you are telling the customer and advance the conversation, or have some sort of objection in which you are going to need to handle. Okay, so when we're talking trust based sales here, we really need to be talking about the idea of adaptive behavior. Okay, and so when we talk about the sales process, all right, and so what we're talking about is the ability to adapt, right? Which then comes this way through questioning. And then the sales process goes all the way down to the goal, right? And the goal is then some sort of commitment that is obtained by the salesperson from the customer. Okay. So the first thing that the salesperson needs to do is assessment. Okay. The second thing the salesperson needs to do is discovery. The third is activation. The fourth is projection. And the fifth is transition. All right. And so all of this here is just identifying and develop needs. Okay. So you're going to assess the situation through questioning, discover where the pain points are, discover where the customer needs help, activation and projection of the problem. So how are we going to actually achieve something within this need? And how are we going to project the need onto the customer and have the customer understand that, hey, this is a need that you need to address right now, and then transition to this new way of doing things that you're offering as the salesperson. Okay. And so um, the way that sales books kind of talk about this is kind of on a timeline. Okay. And so with this timeline, you have information gathering. So you gather information, and then you present that information, and you can then handle objection and then commitment is the goal. And then what we can't forget about here, all the way out here, is to follow up. Because you're going to be providing value to the customer, and especially in big B2B sales, you want to make sure that you follow up with that customer afterwards. Okay. So once we identify the needs through questioning, what I oftentimes have sales students read is a book called Spin Selling. Okay. And so that's identifying the situation, assessing the problem, what's the implication if we don't solve that problem, and then the need payoff with the customer. Okay, I'm starring that here because that's one of the most important aspects of it. Okay, and so we identify the situation through assessment and discovery. We highlight the problem through activation and projection. We then identify what are you going to lose if you don't, what's the implications of not following through with what I'm offering you, and what are the implications of you not addressing this need. Okay, and then the need payoff is, okay, you have the customer then tell you the value that you are providing them. So what would this do for your company if we were to implement this new CRM software? Or what would this do for your company if we were able to cut down turnover by 10%? And then you get the customer thinking, oh, well, that would help me save money on training. That would help me save money on paper. That would help me save money on this. Oh, and then it helps me also down the line here. You get the customer thinking about this. And that's how you transition into your new solution. So then once we have the customer right here aware of the need, right? Then it's a downhill snowball. And the snowball just picks up steam as it's rolling down this hill. And then now we can work on fulfill the need, right? And so we fulfill this need as the snowball is coming down. And what happens is the objection handling isn't really objection handling anymore. It's not a straight up rejection of what you're putting out there. Instead, what it is just concerns that the customer may have in your ongoing relationship. Okay, so as you slowly build up this snowball by assessing the situation, identifying the problem, having some sort of implication awareness from the customer, then you push the snowball down the ramp. It starts picking up speed because the customer is now aware of the need that they have. As the snowball goes down, it gets bigger and bigger. And now any objection handling, any bump in the road isn't going to completely destroy the snowball. Instead, it's just a little blip down the hill that you can then handle really easily, because it could be a logistics thing, it could be an IT thing, it could be a support thing, it could be a price issue, it could be a logistics issue. And all of those things you can handle because of the previous video. You have the knowledge to do that. You have the connections within the company to understand what the issue is and how you're going to help that for the customer. Okay, and so let's highlight this area in here. Okay, so once let's just say we're on this and then the goal is over here, right? And so this is kind of where the sell takes place. Okay, sell kind of takes place probably like right in here. All right, and so what we're going to do is we are going to sell value. Okay, a lot of textbooks will tell you that here is where you're going to sell features and benefits. I disagree. Features and benefits solve the problem temporarily. Value corrects the issue long term. Okay, so E is then explaining the value. Okay, then L is then that leads to benefits long term. Just remember that's long term. And then this also then lets co-creation happen. So we sell value, explain value. That leads to benefits for the customer, which then lets the customer co-create value with you. And that's why spin is so powerful. Okay, again, we identify the situation, S, have the customer comprehend the problem, P, what are the implications if you do not address that problem, I, and then what's the need payoff. Okay, and that leads to the goal, and the goal here is commitment, right? So if we understand the sales process, we understand the snowballing all the way down to the commitment phase, then the customer is going to be happy. You're going to form a relationship with the customer, right? This is relationship-based, trust-based selling. And then that way, we come down here, We're going even further, and here's our checkered finish line. Then out here is follow-up. Once the customer is satisfied, you've created value together, now you're maintaining this relationship. And you do that by following up with the customer, asking them what they need, what else can they do, and then this may lead to another drop-off into another sale, right? Because you've developed this need with the customer, you've developed the problems that are associated with this, and that may transition into another sale. Okay, so quick video talking about the sales process. This is the need satisfaction sales process. Okay, with the end goal of commitment and value. Value is key. Okay, so we'll see you in the next video when we talk about how we initiate this snowball process, and we do that through questioning. Okay, so we'll see you back here in the next video.